This lesson is on section 4-4, which is understanding slope. So beginning skiers use slopes that are not as steep as those who are used by more advanced skiers. You can see over here in the picture a very steep ski slope that would be very scary for me, or a nice, it's still sloped, it's not flat, but definitely not as steep. So some lines on the coordinate plane can also be considered steeper than others. So some new vocabulary for this section include slope, which describes the steepness of a line, also known as rise over run. So you're going to see the equation slope equals rise over run. And when we talk about rise and run, so say here's our slope here, we're talking about our rise is how far you change vertically, so how far you go up. So here would be our rise, and run is the horizontal change. And it's said when a line slants upward, it is said to have a positive slope, and when it slants downward, it has a negative slope. So for example, we had our coordinates like this. If we had a line going this way, this would be a positive slope. Just like when we did scatter plots. If it continues to go up to the right, then it's a positive trend or positive slope. And then if we have something like this is a negative slope. Okay, so let's do some problems. So example 1 says that snow safety experts advise that avalanches are more likely to happen on a hill with a slope between 0.5 and 1. Is an avalanche likely for the hill to the right? So here we have a hill that we have our rise of 850 feet and our run of 1,275 feet. So we can solve for this by using the equation slope equals rise over run. And we can plug in the numbers. So our rise is 850 over 1,275. So let me get my calculator, because I don't know how to do this off the top of my head. So I can do 850 divided by 1275, giving me a slope equal to 0.66 repeating. So now if we look at this, is an avalanche likely for the hill to the right? Well, it says it's likely if you have it between 0.5 and 1. This is definitely between then both those two numbers, so yes, an avalanche is likely. Okay. So our second example is, can you find the rise and run between 2 points on a line and then find the slope? So here we have an example where they give us the line and we can see the 2 points on here. So our rise is going to be the distance up from this point, and our run is the distance over. So in this case, our rise is 2, but it's actually, when you think about it, because we're going from point A to point B, it's going down 2, so it's a negative 2. And our A is going from left to right, so it's going towards the positive. So our run is going to equal positive 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. So now that we know the rise and the run, we can find the slope. So our slope is equal to rise over run. In this case, our rise is -2, our run is 4, which means our slope equals -0.5, or you can write it as -1/2. Either way would be fine. So, I want you to try this one on your own at home. I want you to determine the slope of this line that's drawn here. So you might need to pause this and count using your fingers. Let me zoom in on it for a second, or I'll try to. Or it's not going to let me while I'm videoing. But I'll give you a hint. This one is at -3, 3. And this one's at 1, -3. So press pause and give those a try now. The third type of problem you may encounter is, can you draw a line and they give you not the equation, but they tell you through the origin, and they give you the slope of -3/2. Remember that -3, because slope equals rise over run, the -3 is our rise, and the 2 is our run. And remember that the rise is our vertical direction, up, down. Our run is side to side. So in this case, they say start at 0, 0, our origin. And because we have our rise and our run is right to left. So I'm going to start with our run. So we're going to go 2 units to the right, because remember, this is positive, negative, positive, negative. So 2 spots to the right. And then because it's a -3, I'm going to go down 3 spots. And that would be my next point. So now what I can do is I can go back and draw a line through those 2 points to get my, like that. So what I want you to do to practice is I want you to try to draw a line through the origin that now, instead of having a slope of -3/2, has a slope of 2/3, and then draw a line through 1, 2, so not the origin, but 1, 2, that has a slope of -1. Think about this. If it has a slope of -1, what is the rise and what is the run? So practice those, bring them tomorrow, and we'll go over them in class.